Now we are going to cover how much money you should invest in order to retire comfortably. So we're going to cover two scenarios. The first one in which you will need $100,000 each year after retirement, and the second scenario would be the one in which you would need $56,000 each year in order to live comfortably after your retirement. In order to get $100,000 each year, you will have to withdraw around 4% of $2.5 million. And to get around $56,000 each year, you will have to withdraw around 4% of $1.4 million. Okay, so for the first scenario in which you would need $100,000 each year to retire comfortably, you would need to have around $2.5 million, and to achieve this in 30 years, you would have to invest each month $1.8 thousand adjusted for inflation. So with a 10% return and a 2.5% inflation rate, that would average out to 7.5% return each year. And this is achievable if you know what you're doing in the stock market or if you buy something like the S&P 500. If you're able to invest 10 years earlier, so for 40 years instead of for 30 years, you would be able to invest only $820 per month in order to get those $2.5 million, which is actually around half of what we had with 30 years. If you're able to invest for 50 years instead of 40 years, again, we will cut by more than half the amount invested each month, which would be around $380. If you invested for 60 years instead of 50 years, you would cut this by half again. So around $180 each month would be needed in order to achieve those $2.5 million. And the crazy thing is that by doubling the time you invest, you divide by 10 the amount you need to invest each month. So instead of 60 years, if we had only 30 years, you see it's $1.8 thousand, while it's only $180 for 60 years. So investing early is extremely important. Also, let's say if you have a son or a daughter one day, and that you can start to invest for them $180 per month for their entire life, then that would mean that they could retire with no problem with $2.5 million adjusted for inflation with that small amount of money each month. Now let's take a look at the second scenario in which you would need $1.4 million to retire, which I believe is closer to what the average person will need. So he will then need to withdraw around $56,000 per year to live comfortably. So let's take a look at this. So again, if you have 30 years to invest with the same parameters as previously, you would need around $1,000 each month to get those $1.4 million. If you add 10 years, you can cut by half the amount you invest. So we had $1,000 and now we only need $4,075 adjusted for inflation in order to get those $1.4 million. If we have 50 years to invest, we will be able to cut in half again previously compared to 40 years. So we will only need $225 each month invested. And finally, if we are able to invest for 60 years, let's say we're investing for somebody else, in order to get that $1.4 million, we only need to put $100 each month in order to achieve this total amount of money. So let's recap. Investing early is one of the most powerful strategies to grow your wealth. By adding just 10 years to your investment horizon, you can more than double your total gains due to the magic of compounding. This means you can achieve your financial goals with less effort, allowing you to invest small amount for the same result. A good rule of thumb is to plan for retirement with around 75% of your pre-tax salary. To enhance your financial security, consider increasing your contribution over time. Even small, consistent increases can help you retire sooner or with more comfort. So what you should do is that you should start now. The earlier you start, the more time your investment have to grow. Also, increase your contribution gradually. Even a small increase each year can make a big difference. Also, be sure to reinvest the earnings and the dividends so that you can maximize your compounding. And finally, you have to stay consistent. Stick to your plan even during market fluctuations to reap the long-term benefits. That way, you will be able to retire comfortably. So that will be all. I appreciate highly your time today and I wish you the best.